Hello, my name is Alex, and I have an interesting story to share with you today. It's about a mysterious furniture store and something strange that happens there every night. Do you want to know what happens? Let me tell you. Alex looked at his friends, Sarah, Emma, and Tom. They were all standing outside Mr. Oliver's furniture store. The store looked normal during the day, but at night, things changed. People said the furniture inside the store moved by itself. Of course, nobody really believed it, but Alex and his friends were curious. It's a little scary, isn't it? Sarah whispered, looking at the dark windows of the store. I don't know, said Emma. Maybe it's just a rumor. But we have to check it out. Tom, the bravest of the group, smiled. I agree. Let's go inside and see for ourselves. We'll be careful. Don't worry. They slowly opened the door. The bell on top of the door rang softly. Welcome. Mr. Oliver's voice echoed from behind the counter. He was always friendly and kind. Good evening, kids. Looking for something special? We're just looking around, Alex said. We heard some interesting things about your store, and we wanted to see for ourselves. Mr. Oliver smiled, but there was something strange in his eyes. Oh, you heard about the furniture moving, didn't you? He said, almost as if he had expected them. Yes, Tom said with excitement. What's going on here? Is it true? Mr. Oliver laughed. I can't tell you everything, but let's just say the furniture here has its own stories to tell. Alex and his friends looked at each other, confused. What did Mr. Oliver mean? They decided to stay and find out for themselves. The store was full of beautiful furniture, sofas, chairs, tables, and more. It was quiet, but everything looked normal. They walked around, looking carefully at the furniture. Suddenly, Alex noticed something strange. The chairs were moving. Not much, but just a little. He rubbed his eyes. Was he imagining things? Did you see that? Alex asked. See what? Sarah asked, looking confused. Those chairs. They moved, Alex said. Look, they're moving again. The group stopped and stared. Could this really be happening? What was going on inside Mr. Oliver's store? Alex and his friends stood frozen, staring at the moving chairs. The room felt colder suddenly, and the silence around them seemed louder. Was it really happening? Was the furniture alive? Did the chairs just move? Sarah asked, her voice full of uncertainty. Yes, I saw it too, Emma said, her eyes wide in disbelief. This is strange. Tom, always the curious one, stepped closer to the chairs. Maybe there's a hidden explanation for this. Maybe the floor is uneven or the wind is moving them. That's impossible, Sarah said, shaking her head. This is something we need to figure out. They carefully approached the chairs, and Alex reached out to touch one. Just as his fingers brushed the surface, the chair suddenly slid across the floor by itself. He quickly stepped back, his heart racing. This is so weird, Alex said. We need to find out what's going on here. Look at that. Tom pointed to the old wooden table in the back corner of the store. The table was shaking slightly, and then, to their surprise, it moved a little. This can't be real, Sarah whispered. What if the store is haunted? I don't believe in ghosts, said Alex, though he felt a little scared. But we have to figure this out. Let's go around and see if we can find anything strange about the furniture. They started walking around the store, each of them eyeing the furniture carefully. The sofas, chairs, and tables all seemed to be waiting for something. Emma suddenly stopped near a tall bookshelf. Hey, look at this, she said. There was a small note attached to one of the books. It looked old and worn, as if it had been there for a long time. The note read, "Every piece of furniture has a story to tell. Listen carefully. What does that mean?" Tom asked, reading the note over Emma's shoulder. Listen to furniture. Are we supposed to talk to it? Maybe the furniture can talk to us. Alex suggested. Maybe that's what Mr. Oliver meant when he said it has stories to tell. Okay, I'm willing to try, Sarah said, nervous but curious. But how do we listen to it? I don't know, Alex replied. Let's try talking to one of the pieces. They decided to start with a simple wooden chair. They all gathered around it, and Alex took a deep breath before speaking. "Hello, chair," he said, a little unsure of himself. "Do you have a story to tell?" For a moment, nothing happened. The chair was still. Then, just as Alex was about to laugh at how silly they all must look, something incredible happened. The chair began to move again, slowly at first, and then, to their amazement, it seemed to bow. The back of the chair bent forward, almost as if it were nodding in agreement. "Oh my goodness! Did that chair just nod?" Emma gasped. "I think it did," Tom said, excited. "This is unbelievable. We have to find out what it means," Alex said, his voice filled with wonder. Let's talk to more furniture. The mystery had only just begun, and they were about to learn something incredible about the furniture in Mr. Oliver's store. The friends were filled with excitement and curiosity. They had just discovered that the furniture in Mr. Oliver's store seemed to have a life of its own, and now they were eager to learn more. Alex looked around the store, thinking about the strange note they had found. "Let's try talking to different pieces of furniture," he said. "Maybe each one has its own story to tell. Let's start with that old wooden table," Emma suggested, pointing toward a table near the back of the store. It was large and covered with dust, as if it hadn't been used in years. The group walked over to the table, and Alex, feeling a little nervous, cleared his throat. "Hello, table," he said. "Do you have a story to share?" At first, nothing happened. The table remained still, just like the chair had before. But then, slowly, the table began to shake. It trembled slightly, and then, to their amazement, the surface of the table began to glow faintly, as if the wood itself was alive. A soft voice echoed in the room, coming from the table. "I have been in many homes. I was once a gift for a young couple who started their life together. Over the years, I have seen many celebrations, birthdays, anniversaries, and family dinners. I've watched children grow up and move away, but I have always remained here, waiting for new stories." The group stood in silence, astonished. "That's incredible," Sarah whispered. "It's like the table is alive, telling its own history." "I think every piece of furniture in this store has a unique story," Tom said, his eyes wide. "We should talk to more pieces." Next, they turned their attention to a tall, antique wardrobe in the corner. It was old and ornate, with beautiful carvings on the doors. The friends approached it slowly, unsure of what to expect. "Hello, wardrobe," Alex said, his voice a little more confident now. "Do you have a story to share with us?" The wardrobe remained still for a moment. Then, with a soft creak, the doors of the wardrobe opened slightly. A low, deep voice spoke from inside the wardrobe. "I was once a treasure chest, filled with clothes from many different lands. I was owned by a woman who traveled the world, collecting beautiful fabrics and exotic clothing. I have seen many places, from sunny beaches to snowy mountains. Now I rest here, waiting for the next adventure." "Wow, that's amazing," Emma said, her face full of wonder. "I can't believe how much history these pieces have." "I think every piece in this store has its own story," Sarah said. "It's like we're learning about the past through the furniture." Suddenly, Alex noticed something else. Near the window, there was an old armchair that seemed to glow in the dim light. It wasn't moving, but there was something about it that felt different. "Let's talk to that armchair," Alex suggested. The friends walked over to the armchair, and Alex took a deep breath before speaking. "Hello, armchair," he said. "Do you have a story for us?" At first, there was no response, but then the chair slowly shifted as if settling in. A soft, calming voice filled the room. "I was once the favorite chair of a writer," the armchair said. "I have been in many libraries, surrounded by books. I have listened to stories and ideas being shared, and I have helped many people relax and think. I am proud to have been a part of the creative process." The group was amazed by what they were hearing. Each piece of furniture had its own rich, unique history. They had only just begun to scratch the surface of the mystery that lay in Mr. Oliver's store. "This is unbelievable," Tom said. We need to learn more about these pieces. Alex nodded. We're just getting started. Let's keep listening. The mystery of the moving furniture had left the group feeling excited and curious. They had learned so much already, but there was still one more piece of the puzzle to uncover. The more they listened to the furniture, the more they realized that each piece has something important to teach them. We've spoken to so many pieces, Alex said, but there's still one more thing we need to understand. Why is this happening? Why do the furniture pieces seem to come to life? Sarah nodded. I think we're missing something. There has to be a reason for all of this. The friends decided to explore the back of the store where Mr. Oliver's office was located. They had seen him go in and out earlier that day, and maybe he knew more about the strange happenings in his store. As they approached the office, they noticed something unusual. A small door behind the counter had been left slightly open. The group exchanged curious glances. Should we go in? Emma asked quietly. I think we have to, Alex said. We're getting closer to the truth. With hearts racing, they stepped into the office. The room was small, but filled with old books and papers. On the desk, there was a large, open notebook covered with notes and drawings. The friends gathered around it, looking over Mr. Oliver's notes. As Alex flipped through the pages, he stopped at one in particular. Look at this, he said, pointing to a page filled with sketches of the furniture they had already spoken to. Beside each sketch was a description of its history, just like they had heard from the furniture itself. This is amazing, Sarah whispered. Mr. Oliver must have known all along. Alex continued reading aloud. Each piece of furniture has a story to tell, but it's more than that. The furniture in this store has been part of people's lives, and those lives leave something behind. These stories are not just memories, they're a way for people to stay connected with the past. The room grew silent as the friends absorbed what they had just read. So, the furniture isn't just alive, Tom said slowly. It's a way for the past to live on. These pieces are holding the memories of the people who own them. Alex nodded. Exactly. The furniture in this store is special. Mr. Oliver has collected pieces that carry the stories of people from all walks of life. I think the furniture moves because it wants to share those stories, Emma said, her voice filled with understanding. It wants people to listen and remember. That makes so much sense, Sarah agreed. It's like the furniture is a bridge to the past, helping us remember the important moments in people's lives. Just then, they heard footsteps coming from the front of the store. Mr. Oliver appeared in the doorway, smiling at them. I see you've found my secret, he said with a wink. I've been collecting these pieces for years. Each one holds a story that helps us understand where we come from and how we're all connected. Thank you for showing us, Alex said. We've learned so much today. Mr. Oliver smiled. Remember, every piece of furniture in this store has a lesson. If you listen closely, you'll always learn something new. The group looked around the store, now understanding that the furniture wasn't just objects, it was a collection of memories and stories, waiting to be shared with those willing to listen. As the group stood in Mr. Oliver's store, reflecting on everything they had learned, they realized that the true mystery wasn't just about the furniture moving, it was about the stories behind each piece. They had heard about families, adventures, and dreams, all preserved in the wood and fabric of these old objects. I never thought furniture could be so meaningful, Emma said, smiling as she looked at the pieces around her. I always thought furniture was just something you sit on or use. But now, it feels like each piece has a purpose beyond that. Alex nodded. Yeah, these objects have lived through so much. They've been part of people's lives for years. It's like we're holding on to the past, learning from it. Mr. Oliver stepped forward, his eyes twinkling. That's exactly it. These pieces carry memories. They're a reminder that the past is always with us, even if we can't always see it. The stories live on in the furniture, in the things people leave behind. The group listened carefully. It was a simple truth, but it made sense to them. The furniture wasn't just an object. It was a vessel for the memories, experiences, and lives of the people who had owned it. Sarah smiled thoughtfully. It's like a way to connect with the past without really having to go back in time. That's right, Mr. Oliver said. And every time someone new sits on a chair or touches a table, they're creating their own story. We're all connected, whether we realize it or not. Tom looked around at the furniture with new eyes. I think I'll look at things differently from now on. I'll remember that everything has a story, and it's up to us to listen. The friends said their goodbyes to Mr. Oliver, each carrying with them a lesson that would stay with them for a long time. As they stepped out of the store, the afternoon sun shining down on them, they felt grateful. They had learned more than just English today. They had learned to appreciate the stories around them, and how even the smallest objects could hold great meaning. As the group walked away from Mr. Oliver's store, they felt a sense of satisfaction. The mystery had been solved, but more importantly, they had learned something much deeper. They had learned to truly listen to the stories all around them, whether in the objects they touched, the people they met, or even the words they used. Today was amazing, Sarah said, glancing at her friends. I didn't expect to learn so much, not just about the furniture, but about life itself. Everything has a story to tell if we're open to listening. Alex smiled. Exactly. And I think the most important thing we've learned is that the past is never really gone. It's always with us, in the stories we share and the memories we keep, Emma nodded. And by listening, we can connect with those stories, whether it's through an old chair or a new conversation, Tom laughed. It's like a treasure hunt, but instead of finding gold, we find memories. The friends laughed together, feeling a bond that went beyond their shared experience in the store. They had discovered something meaningful, the importance of remembering, the power of stories, and the way language helps us connect to both the past and the present. As they walked down the street, they felt inspired to take this lesson with them. Every day, there were new stories to hear, new connections to make, and new things to learn. And they realized that every day was an opportunity to listen and learn in new ways. Before they parted ways, Alex turned to the group. You know, I think we've all learned something really important today. And we're not just learning English, we're learning how to connect with the world around us. The friends smiled, knowing that the lesson they had learned would stay with them long after the mystery was solved. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this story and learned something new today, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. That way, you won't miss any of our next adventures. Keep learning, keep listening, and remember, every story is worth hearing.